What's up, ladies and gents? You know what time of day it is. It's XCN time, and in today's video we're going to be talking all about XCN. We're going to be discussing what we are seeing here on the charts, and I'll be giving you guys my price prediction for XCN over the coming days and weeks, as well as my targets for 2025. So be sure to stay tuned for all of that. Of course, if you are a new viewer, then welcome to this channel. If you do like this sort of content, hit that like button and subscribe for more. If you are a returning viewer, as always, welcome back to the channel. It's great to have you all here. So, of course, we're going to be diving straight into this video, and we're first going to start off with the shorter term here on XCN. So this is what the chart looks like on the 1 hour at the moment. Of course, over the past few days, we have had this beautiful little pump here on XCN. We've taken the prices up about 20% with a massive increase in volume. However, just with how the market has been over the past 48 hours, we have seen this move fully retraced. Of course, that goes along with the rest of the market as well. Pretty much every single crypto is down a little bit today, and it's also been down yesterday. So we are back to where we started. But I do think things could improve here in the shorter term on XCN. And of course, I'll be listing the reasons why. So, of course, first thing to note about XCN before we dive into those reasons is the fact as well that in the next few hours, so about 4 hours from making this video, we have something that's going to be affecting XCN quite a lot. And of course, guys, that is indeed the interest rate decision. Now, that's coming out today, 7 p.m. my time, so 2 p.m. Eastern time. And if you've seen my videos before, you will know what kind of effect this has on the markets. Essentially, it adds a lot of volatility, and depending on the outcome of these economic data, we will see one of several outcomes. So essentially what we're looking for here from the interest rate decision is this actual column. And at the moment, as you can see, the forecast is 4.5%. So there's no change in interest rates. So if it is 4.5%, then not much is going to happen within the market, in my opinion. But if the number is different, so let's say it's lower, 4.25%, for example, that would be very, very bullish for the markets, and you'd actually have to prepare yourself for a very bullish outcome here on XCN. I do think prices could be rising quite quickly if the number here is lower than 4.5%. Of course, there isn't a high chance of it, but just pay attention when the time comes around, particularly if you are a shorter term holder. Of course, if it is above 4.5%, which is even less likely, then I do think that is going to be extremely bearish for the markets. So just be prepared for any value outside of 4.5% here. Of course, the conference that occurs half an hour after the decision is made is also very important. Essentially, the chair of the Fed speaks during this conference, and you can tell by his tone whether he's optimistic or pessimistic about the economy. And generally, that tone during the meeting moves the market. So if he's optimistic about the interest rate cuts, if he's optimistic about the economy, inflation, so on and so forth, then we should see the markets pump. However, if he's pretty pessimistic about stuff, particularly with the war going on between Iran and Israel, then that could mean things take a little bit of a tank here on crypto. So first and foremost, guys, if you are shorter term holders here on XCN, do be prepared for a scenario where the prices continue to head down. Of course, what I'm particularly looking for here on XCN is for prices to kind of just remain in between these fib levels that we have here on the chart. At the moment, as we can see, this fib level is now a resistance. So we could be taking a trip down to 1.1 cents if things continue to be bearish here on XCN. However, if things do get bullish from that interest rate news that comes out later today, then we could see quite a quick trip back up to this resistance here. That's at 1.55 cents. If we can exceed that level, then honestly, guys, we've got a long trip all the way back up. So essentially, in the shorter term, my first little short-term price target there, if we get a nice pump coming from that interest rate decision, is this 1.55 cents region. So, of course, like I say, there are a few reasons to be bullish here on XCN. Of course, one of the main things that I have been monitoring is this price action that we have been seeing here compared to this one over here. Now, of course, if you were with me during this period from January all the way until April, we just had this little bit of a dump, but we are seeing similarities between this and this. And of course, what resulted after we got to the end of this downtrend here in April was this 4x pump. Now, I'm seeing signs that we could be close to the end of this downtrend that we've seen here on XCN as well. And if I get the MACD up on the 1-day chart, you guys can kind of see why. Have a look at how the MACD did this at the start of March there. Of course, this is not a divergence or anything, but we are seeing a very similar pattern occur here on the MACD on the 1-day charts compared to what we saw back in March. So we are starting to see signs that we saw back over here before this breakout to the upside. Now, what we're also seeing here on the MACD, very, very close to seeing the two lines cross over, the blue line and the orange line there. Now, of course, that also happened in March of 2025 as well. It wasn't immediately a buy signal. The momentum was just starting to creep up. As you can see, the MACD started to head up here whilst the price was going down, and that confirmed to us that we were indeed seeing the bullish divergence. So right now, we aren't seeing a buy signal on the MACD, but if the prices do head down to that 1.1 cents region, and the MACD does something like this, then that would be an extremely good sign. And if that were to occur, I do think we would see a pump at least as big as the one we saw there in April. So of course, just looking at the fibs, if we get down to this 1.1 cents region and we see a pump to the upside, we'd be looking at the fib levels as price targets from any such bounce. So of course, on top of 1.55 cents, we could be looking at 2.6 cents as the next target. And then if the pump is really, really big, the next target there is the previous high at 5 cents. So the MACD on the 1-day chart, in my opinion, is looking very, very good. Of course, on the 4-hour chart, we are starting to see divergences as well. Let me just get rid of those drawings. Have a look at this here. We've got a beautiful divergence on the 4-hour MACD and the price. Of course, the price is heading down, but the MACD is slightly heading upwards, meaning that although the price is heading downwards, the momentum is getting a little bit more bullish. So this tells us, according to the 4-hour chart, that we could see a trend reversal in the near future. So that was some good news here on XCN. Unfortunately, it's not all good news. There are some things that concern me a little bit. Of course, one of the things, for example, was this trend line that we have been watching. Of course, this was a support for the price here on XCN. We have broken down below it. We shot up a little bit above, but unfortunately, like I said, due to the markets in general, we have come back down. So if we can reclaim this would be nice, but at the moment the prices are underneath our support level, which isn't all that great. But of more concern to me is this 200-day moving average. So of course, these moving averages, as you can see, have been supports for the price during the bull run that we have seen here on XCN since 2024. The prices have come down on numerous occasions to test these moving averages as places of support. And essentially, as you can see right now, XCN is in a difficult area. We are starting to come down below the moving averages. As you can see, if I zoom in a little bit, the prices have come down. The bulls have tried to keep it above, but if we spend too long below these moving averages, that could mean that XCN stays on a bearish trend for quite a while longer. Of course, it's not the end here for XCN if that does occur. For example, if we have a look on Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin has actually spent quite a bit of time underneath its moving average here during its bull run that it has had. For example, in 2024, you guys can see prices have stayed under the moving average for a little while before coming back above. But generally speaking, it's not a great sign if the prices spend too long below their moving averages. So falling under these moving averages is the only major concern that I have here for XCN going into the future. Of course, like I say, there's still plenty of things to be bullish on here on XCN. Even if we head down over the next few days, like I say, I do think we could see something pretty bullish in the near future. Now, another major reason that we have for that is this correlation that we have here in crypto between the global liquidity and Bitcoin. Of course, Bitcoin is correlated with the crypto market. So by extension, the global liquidity here is strongly correlated to crypto in general. And essentially, what we've seen the global liquidity do over the past few months is completely skyrocket. Now, the more liquidity there is in a system, the more money that's just naturally going to flow into crypto. That's just how it is, and that's probably why we've got this strong correlation between them. And essentially what you guys can see on the screen is that the global liquidity made this short-term dip here. And of course, we've also seen that dip throughout crypto. So what should happen if this correlation is to continue is that over the next few days, we should start to see crypto recover And if Bitcoin really follows the global liquidity, within the next few weeks, we could see prices of above 120,000. And if we extend that a little bit, so we're talking now months down the line, we could see prices of Bitcoin at above 140,000. Now, of course, that's going to pull up the rest of crypto with it as well. XCN is also going to benefit from that, but this is also a short-term thing. We should see prices really shortly going back up if this correlation is to remain. So that's something very bullish to look forward to here on XCN in general. Of course, if we're talking a little bit longer term here for XCN, whatever happens in the shorter term doesn't matter that much. I am still extremely bullish here for XCN over the longer term. And at the moment, what I see here on XCN is that we are wedged in between this resistance on the longer term and this level of support. Now, of course, this resistance and support have been in play since January. And as you can see, even if the prices, like I say, fall down to 1.1 cents, doesn't really matter because we are still within this channel. And at some point, what I expect to see here on XCN is a breakout to the upside. So let's say the prices get up to this level and start to clearly break out past this upper resistance, which at the moment only lies at 1.7 cents. If we start to break out to the upside from this resistance here, this, guys, is a bull flag pattern. It's a long-term bull flag pattern that we have been seeing here on XCN. And of course, we saw prices go parabolic into this bull flag pattern. So what we would expect as a price target to the upside, if we do see that breakout, is something that looks like this. Now, of course, if we do see a clear breakout to the upside, then we could be looking at a price target here on XCN of up to 10 cents in the future. So 1.7 cents at the moment is an area of interest for me. If the prices start to head up and we get close to this upper resistance line at 1.7 cents, things could get very, very juicy very quickly. Now, of course, if you want to get $10 absolutely free to buy some XCN, then don't forget to check out the MEXC exchange. This is the exchange that I use for buying and trading XCN because they have some of the lowest fees. They don't require KYC. And as you can see on the screen, they're giving every new user who signs up using the link in the description down below $10 to get started. So, of course, if you want to claim that, sign up using the link in the description down below. Don't forget to deposit some fiat currency or crypto into your MEXC account, and then they'll give you that money straight away. So like I say, you can simply buy some XCN with it, or you can go on the MEXC futures and long XCN with up to 20 times leverage. Of course, guys, thank you so much for supporting this channel. Let's get back into this video. So this is one of the price targets that we have here for XCN in 2025. Other price targets that we are monitoring here on this channel as well fall along these fib levels that we have seen here on XCN. As you can see, prices have really respected these levels, these fib levels, as places of support and resistance. For example, as you can see, we saw the prices come down to the 0.382 fib there, bounce to the upside and hit this 0.786 fib. So essentially we can use these fib levels as places where we might expect to see some resistance in the future here on XCN. And of course, if we can claim new all-time highs, the first fib next is at 11 cents. The two main fibs that I'm looking at, however, is this 1.414 fib at 17 cents and this 1.618 fib there at 32 to 33 cents. Now, the first one is important because this was the previous all-time high here for XCN, so it's quite a nostalgic spot for holders. If the prices get up to this level, we could see quite a bit of resistance. However, if we break out to the upside and make new all-time highs, then I think that this 32, 33 cents level is going to be coming very, very fast. So those are my targets for XCN in 2025. Of course, two things that we really need to see in order for the best chance of that happening is if we go onto CoinMarketCap. We've got these indicators here. The altcoin season indicator is the most important one to monitor. because this tells us whether Bitcoin is outperforming altcoins or the other way around. Now, at the moment, Bitcoin is clearly outperforming altcoin. For example, over the past day or so, we've been bearish, but Bitcoin has barely budged from its all-time highs. So we know that Bitcoin is outperforming in general, but when we see this value at above 75, things get very exciting for altcoins like XCN. That just means that altcoins are wildly outperforming, and that kind of environment allows coins like XCN to 2x, 5x, even 10x in the shortest space of time. Additionally as well, what we also want to see on top of that altcoin season index being above 75 is this fear and greed index at above 80. At the moment, we are at 48, so we've dropped quite a bit over the past few days. But when we get above 80, that means there is euphoria in the markets, there is extreme greed, and it creates those frenzies where coins do these massive multiples in the shortest space of time. So if we get a perfect storm, altcoin season index above 75, fear and greed index above 80, then that's going to give us the best possible chance of XCN doing something crazy like this to these upper price targets. So that's pretty much what I wanted to say for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, do let me know down in the comments if you are holding any XCN. If you are, what are your personal price targets for 2025? Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.